Welcome back, everyone. So fabulously, I am here with Natasha Hesch, Senior Product Manager for BiblioWeb and BiblioEmail. Her pronouns are she, her. And for the office hours today, we'll first look at any questions that are submitted in the portal, and then we'll take questions via chat. If you'd like, you can turn on the live transcript by clicking on the button located at the bottom of the video screen, and the transcript of this session is available upon request. So there aren't any questions in the portal, so we're going to hand things over to Natasha, but as she is speaking, feel free to chat in any questions you have. And of course, we also have our BiblioWeb meetup on November 1st. And so I will also share those details too. So take it away, Natasha.
All righty. Thanks, Erica. Hey, everyone. Let me just get my screen shared here and we can get started with some bits of information. There was a roadmap session earlier in BiblioCon, but we didn't get into too many details at a per product level. So I'm just going to cover a couple of things that I didn't talk about in that session, just so you all know what's coming up. I do have some slides, so maybe I'll start there and then I'll flip back to the that other slide. Okay. So I think I mentioned this, but the blogs more like this feeds will be getting activated probably sometime in October or early November. So all the libraries will have card feeds above their comments for those who have the comment functionality turned on. Other things that are coming up. I sent a communication out about this as part of the 4.14 release notes. It's about the language and region meta tag. Matt also talked about it briefly in his session on accessibility. Basically, this tag makes it so that a user on a screen reader will hear the correct pronunciation and accent of the language on the page. So we'll be using the existing language taxonomy for that. The language taxonomy appears right now on all content types, kind of in the far right. And I can show you where that is. So it appears here. So for example, I'm on a blog post, it appears over here. Most libraries weren't really using this because it wasn't used for anything. It was like a field that was added early in the development of BiblioWeb, but never fully built out. There were a handful of libraries who, unfortunately, it was miscommunicated that this was used for metadata tags. That's not the case. We don't leverage this for metadata with our BiblioWeb search or with search engines like Google. So basically, what will be happening with the 4.15 release is that there'll be a new language taxonomy that you can access. It is kind of there right now, but it's buried, so probably most people aren't actually accessing the actual language taxonomy page, but there'll be a new field getting added to allow libraries to add the language and region subtag. So language tags look like EN or like ES, and then the region subtag is related to the area like Canada, United States, Mexico. The language taxonomy article, which will be shared, covers how to look up language and region subtags. And then from the blog post pages and custom and standard pages, the language taxonomy will be switched to be a dropdown. It will include your library's language terms. Some libraries already had added language terms because they thought it did something. Some have none. Everyone will have the English language term to start, and that will be the default term for new created content, and we'll also be doing a migration. So previously created content will have English applied if no taxonomy term was applied before. If your library had already applied like a Spanish or a French tag to content, that would persist. So because we're using an existing field for this, I have shared as part of the upcoming changes article, the rollout plan. So before the 4.15 release, which will be early November, we'll be cleaning up the language taxonomy. So for libraries that have less than 50 terms, non-language terms will be deleted because those won't make sense to leverage as a language taxonomy term. A handful of libraries who I've communicated with directly via email were using the language taxonomy for a purpose that never really existed, unfortunately. So those terms will be deleted. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. So then, as part of the 4.15 release, that's when you'll see the new fields. And then we're suggesting everyone wait for about a week after the 4.15 release goes out before updating existing content, just in case we have to roll back the release for some reason. We don't want anyone like investing time in updating those language and region subtags. And then 10 days after the 4.15 release goes out, that's when we're encouraging libraries to go in there and apply the language taxonomy term to your existing content that's in different languages. So if you have like Spanish blog posts or Spanish pages, you'd apply the Spanish term to them. So that is one kind of big update that's coming out. Card expiry will also be going live with preview libraries after the 4.14 release. I can't remember the exact date, but I have a demo booked with our card expiry libraries early October, and it will be activated after that. So more information to come on that. I'm just putting together an article about how all of it works. But essentially, this is kind of that peace of mind piece. So if you have a news article about an art exhibit, but that art exhibit ends at the end of September, you can indicate that you want to unpublish or delete the card after a certain date. We also have been working at the pixelation issue. There have been a number of libraries that have flagged concerns with pixelation. So that is something that we're addressing partially in the 4.14. We'll be in touch with preview libraries on that. And then the other piece that came out of that project is that we'll be adding a new card crop for the horizontal card. So it's going to be optional. It's a different ratio, so it's a 4:3 ratio. With horizontal cards being fixed height, we still do need to do some auto cropping, but it's like a much smaller margin on each side. We're also looking to make some improvements to closure display. Right now, it's a little confusing to patrons because when the library is closed, the current day hours are still highlighted. So that's like a bit in conflict with like closure information, but current days hours highlighted. So we will be with the improvement, we will not be highlighting the regular hours when there is a closure or special hours. And then we're also looking to display holidays and closures that are happening within the next 7 days at the bottom of this block. These mock-ups are still in progress. And for our preview libraries who have seen previous iterations of these, we'll be booking a call with you to look at them probably about 2 weeks from now, just to get another round of feedback from y'all. So yeah, these are not finalized, but kind of the direction that we're looking at currently. So that's the stuff I have mocks about. Just looking at this list to see if there's anything else we haven't talked about. Yeah, so the team continues to work on the Gutenberg migration. So basically Gutenberg is a new editor style put out by WordPress. As a starting point, we'll be looking to replace non-WYSIWYG post types. So that's things like banner or hero module, things that don't have a WYSIWYG, eventually card types. So we'll be probably looking for preview libraries on that. I will reach out. In Q4, we also have a WordPress upgrade. We haven't kind of looked at what is all in that yet, but typically there's some staff-facing improvements. So keep an eye on your release notes. We'll be announcing what's happening there. We're also going to be continuing discovery on language support. At the last quarterly meetup, I was kind of asking about libraries' interest in better language support. There seemed to be quite a bit of interest. So doing some competitor and comparator analysis, hopefully talking to some more libraries. I would love to talk to Multnomah. I watched their session about their website redesign and the investment they've made in multilingual content. So curious to hear more from them. We're also looking at doing soft launches on BiblioWeb. So that's a kind of a launch process that BiblioCore has used for a number of years, where they release to one app server to start, see if there's any priority bugs that we were unable to find in our testing environment. And if there is a priority bug, the soft launch is rolled back, the bug is fixed, we soft launch again. So we're just investigating how we can do that for BiblioWeb. That will be a good improvement. It will mean we can kind of dip our toe into the release before activating it for all libraries. So that will allow us to find problematic bugs with a smaller set of patrons and staff. So that will be coming in 2024. We're working with our friends over on the events team to look at possibilities around faster updates to the hours and info module. So as you know, on BiblioWeb, it can take up to an hour to get updated hour information and location alerts to appear. So looking at picking up a faster response on that. Looking at some mobile performance improvements. Yeah, that's kind of it from me. I have a couple other things I can look at, but Erica, are there questions that have come in on stuff?
Nope, not yet. We just had some like upvoting, like excellent, excited for these new enhancement kind of stuff. So yeah, all good.
Okay, great. One other thing I just wanted to touch on briefly is responsive editing. There's a variety of ways to do responsive editing. Katie and Denise showed one where you can kind of like create multiple versions of a module and show or hide it if you attended their session yesterday. So I wanted to just point out that there's other ways, other responsive editing functionality. There's a whole article on it, and I can share this with Erica to share in, oh, maybe I don't have chat.
No, there's no chat in Zoom for us.
Oh, okay.
If you Slack it to me, I can put it in.
Okay, 1 second here. Okay, so one of the things that is built into Page Builder is a way to change heading sizes with just one module. So it makes it like a little easier for staff. So I just wanted to point it out. What am I logging in? Okay, I'm on our sales site. Okay, so okay, so let's say you had a heading and you made it really big on your page because it was the H1. So we have our H1, but maybe we wanted it to be like way bigger. And maybe it was like longer. Okay, so maybe it's a big heading. So then On mobile, this would obviously look a bit silly. So we can see, obviously looks silly. But if you go into responsive editing, so that was accessed from here, and click on our little mobile icon, then you can see here beside typography is the icon. So you can actually go in here and change the size. So then you could also change the size for tablet just by switching to here. Maybe you want it to be like at a 30. And then when I exit, if I go into preview the layout, we can see that on desktop, I still have the really big font, but on tablet and mobile, it's using the smaller size. So that only works for some modules. It kind of depends what you're using, but it's worth kind of trying that responsive editing as a starting place, because it can be less effort if you want to make a change later, because you wouldn't have to make it in 3 places. Sometimes you will need to duplicate the module, like what Katie and Denise were showing, because you want to have like different visuals. Like maybe the tiled card module, you want to show 5 on desktop, but only 3 on tablet so that it like displays properly. In that case, you would be using that functionality in advanced with the visibility. So just wanted to point out there are kind of like a few different ways to do things. And this article kind of goes through them.
Nice. Okay, I shared that article. And then Tiff also has a question. She recently got a question about hosting audio and video files on BiblioWeb pages, like instead of embedding a YouTube video. And she's curious if you know the accessibility implications of this, and if it's not recommended, or if there's things we can do to make it accessible.
Lots. Let me just jot down a note or two. Okay. Audio and video. So I will say YouTube videos are great because you can like, I know you used to be able to upload transcripts so that viewers who needed closed captioning could activate those. I haven't used YouTube in a while, but I imagine that there's like automatic captions happening now. I don't know if anyone knows if they can chime in. So there can be, I would say there can be benefits to using YouTube because they'll have more functionality built in. If you were to just like upload a video into the media library, it's going to be, I would say, probably more basic and won't have as much functionality. I actually am not even quite sure how that totally works. Yeah, so you can select from the media library. But yeah, I'm not really sure what is all in MP4, if you can do like captioning or not. So that would be something you'd probably want to investigate. We recommend not embedding videos as background images. So when you're looking at a row setting, there's background options to have videos. We don't recommend this because there's no option, there's no pause option. So it means it's like playing in a loop. And that's bad for people who have issues with motion, such as myself. So I will notice if pages are doing that. Yeah, if you are like really super keen on having something move on your page automatically, the recommendation from WCAG is that it be shorter than 5 seconds and then it stop. I did put together an article on that recently. With audio, I
So
know.
just for context, Natasha, just because it might be helpful, Tiff had said that the request came from their archives and special collections team because they have existing archival video and film that could be used to enhance digital collections and point toward digital collections.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you could try it, like try uploading one and see what the options are. And then try uploading the same video into YouTube and see like what accessible functionality just kind of comes out of the box. Yeah, the other like benefit of having a video in YouTube that you then embed on your site is that it also exists in YouTube, and lots of people are just like hanging out there. So there can be like a positive benefit to like having your video in a more like centralized viewing location. With audio, there is this audio option, and I know that we also support a podcast embed. I think Omaha Library uses it.
Tiff says yes, she's done the podcast embed.
Okay. I'm like, that exists. I don't know what it's called.
I'm interested. I actually think that would be a fun future BiblioWeb meetup topic to talk about archives and special collections. I feel like sometimes the archive and special collections folks feel pushed off to the side a little bit at libraries, and of course they do amazing work, and it's so cool for the public as well. So let me know if that's something that you guys would like to focus on in the future, and we could talk about, you know, presenting and integrating your archive and special collections, whether you use Content DM or other data systems. So Matt also says, in the past, audio modules have broken my formatting, and he worked with Jess on this and was curious if it's been fixed. We've moved away from using them, so he hasn't tested it recently.
You know what? That sounds extremely familiar. I feel like I have I do not believe we have fixed that bug, but I do have a ticket about it. Embed. What is that called again? Audio.
While Natasha is looking at this, I also just wanted to ask, I'm just curious for all the web managers out there, have there been specific sites or focuses that your library has asked you to create? You know, so like the marketing department has started a podcast, or they want more emphasis on historic collections or something like that. I'm just interested in like the trends of new sites or new subsites that they've asked you to develop. So if you have anything like that, if you've recently been asked to like, hey, can we create this on the website? I'm interested just to hear what stakeholders are asking for right now.
So Matt, I do have a bug ticket about audio modules breaking other page builder modules sometimes. I have it in an upcoming sprint, but if you want to submit a ticket about that, it will just make sure that we resolve the issue, because bugs that clients have reported are ranked higher than just bugs that we find internally.
Nice, thank you. And just because Natasha can't see the comments, I just want to share, Matt says that they've been building sites for local elections, an art gallery, and working on a landing page for some historical media collections. And Jessica at Snow Isle says that they have a collaboration with a local radio using SoundCloud, and they'd love to have a better way to integrate that media. Request for digital exhibits from Anna at Marin County. Good. Oh yeah, and Tiffany's saying she made some special pages for their 150th anniversary. I know actually a lot of libraries, or at least in my mind, a lot. Columbus also has their 150th this year. So definitely check out Chicago's pages, because they were fantastic and such a good example. And I know other libraries have looked at that, since it seems like a lot of libraries are coming up on their 150th.
Oh, it's right here. I can just click on it. Are there URLs anyone shared about of some of those pages, and I can just pull them up?
Not yet, but if they do, I'll post them over to you. I'm actually going to send you, just in case, the new site, the newest Biblio websites that are going live. So San Jose is about to go live. I just sent it to you, Natasha. And then also Palm Beach County, which is beautiful too. These are two just really, really beautiful sites. And it's exciting because, let me get back over to where I'm at. So this is San Jose. San Jose has been with BiblioCommons for a long time, but they just now are implementing BiblioWeb. So it's super cool. Julie, I don't think Julie is here. If you are here, Julie, pop in. She had a great presentation yesterday on privacy and Google Analytics, but they also did something really cool in their BiblioWeb. Set up one of their blockers for using BiblioWeb in the past had been this very extensive privacy kind of checklist that they had created for patrons, and they were able to recreate it in BiblioWeb, which in the past they were not able to do that. So I'm hoping we can get Julie to come in sometime and do a little demo for all BiblioWeb libraries, because I feel like they really were very creative of using the platform. And Tiff says, I was excited to work on this. It was a virtual timeline. Here, I'm going to send it to you, Natasha. Oh yeah, very cute. Hold on. So it's a visual timeline of Chicago Public with images from their archives. So very fun. Actually, Tiff, we actually were talking internally about your really cute teen space pictures.
Yes. I love them. I was like sharing them. I'm like, this is amazing.
Okay, here's a few more fun pages. Oh, I must have done something wrong. Hold on a second.
And let me pull up Palm Beach. I guess are they live right now, Erica?
They are. Yeah,
yeah,
they're live.
Great. Yeah, I'm like, I see that their URL is not does not have the Biblio CMS in it anymore. Love their graphics team. That looks nice.
Yeah. Jessica, that link is not working for me. Or sorry, Jackie, that link is not working for me from Snow Isle. If you want to send another one, or maybe it's working for other people, I can look at it later.
Featured events. Okay,
here is a site. I just posted it to you, Natasha, for Edmonton. And oh, great. Thanks, Jackie.
Oops. Okay.
Ooh, book buzz. Fun. Okay.
Edmonton election. I love an election page. I remember Arapahoe had one that I really liked.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in preview. We're seeing it behind the scenes. I was like, this URL looks weird. Oh yeah, provincial election. This is our branding in Canada. For those of you who don't know, this yellow and the black and white.
Nice.
Voting resources. Nice horizontal card. Oh yeah, I love a cross merchandise. You're like, let's get into the collections. Very nice. We have a Book Buzz page by Snow Isle. Let's have a look.
And I also want to point out while, Nina says, regarding the Elections Canada branding, it's not the prettiest, but I'm always impressed by how it's consistent and noticeable when you see it. So
I love it.
yeah. One thing, as Natasha is looking at this, I also just wanted to point out that we, and this is where so many of our products now integrate, but thank you to our preview libraries from BiblioWeb previewing your content in Biblio apps. So you can now feature your online resources cards, your news cards, your blog posts. Obviously, your events cards already pull through, but those are now going to pull through on Biblio apps. And Chicago is one of our preview libraries for that. And I feel like maybe Jefferson County, maybe St. Louis. Jen, are you one of my, I can't remember. Anyway, but thank you for those folks who are previewing that. And then that will be available to everyone next year. So, and you'll also have the option of which, yay, thanks, Jen. You'll also have the option of which things you want to pull through. So let's say you don't do a lot of blogs, so you don't have to pull through your blogs into Biblio app. So just another way to integrate everything across the entire platform.
Yeah, it's exciting. The like web content, modular content dream is like becoming a reality. You're getting it in apps, it's in personalized promotions. If you want personalized promotions activated, email Tim at bibliocommons.com. He can turn that on for you.
Yes. That's actually a good question too. Do you guys have questions about personalized promotions? I mean, again, it's always, I feel like to this point now with office hours, I almost want to have one office hour that is like cross-platform. Here's the stuff that goes, because in theory, like personalized promotions is BiblioWeb, but it's also BiblioCore. So there's a lot of overlap. We are working also on a webinar for for personalized promotions, because I think, there's amazing documentation that Tim wrote in the partner portal, but there's still, I think, a lot of questions and it's certainly iterated over time. So we're working on a webinar for that to be determined.
There's a whole section. And the top one, preparing for personalized promotions, is where you start if you are wanting to get started.
Yeah, the one thing that I will flag for personalized promotions that I would say is a very common misconception is that you have to add keywords to make personalized promotions work. You can just turn on personalized promotions and you don't have to add keywords at all. In fact, when Chicago first was testing it, we didn't even have that option for keywords. Like we were just using the metadata. So don't stress about the keywords. The other thing is I would say is some people overly use the library recommendation or the general recommendation, the spotlight card. And just remember that everything you put down for a spotlight card will show up in any search. So if it doesn't make sense for that card to show up and say a kid's search for dogs, don't put it in that spotlight. That would be things like winter reading or summer reading, things that really truly are for everybody at the library. So you don't have to do anything though to make personalization work, or sorry, personalized promos work. You've already done all the work, like Nina said. You can just turn it on and you don't have to do anything else.
Totally.
Nina asked, for any new folks in the room, Natasha, can you describe what promos is?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, I don't have it. So in BiblioWeb, you create your cards, and any cards that have catalog metadata, so like list cards, blog post cards, they all have associated bib titles, and they have like subject heading data and format data attached to them. So basically, we look at all of that data, and then when a user performs a search, I know this one at Arapahoe libraries. I guess I could do any search. But when you do a search, we're on the Barbie theme for BiblioCon, so I want to use Arapahoe because I know they have Barbie. Okay, so I do a keyword search for Barbie. I'm like looking at Barbie stuff. And then automatically, because of the data, it's pulling back this card. So This does have the keyword Barbie in the blog post title. That's not why it's coming back. The reason that it's getting returned is the metadata. So in this post by Arapaho Kelly, there is a bunch of titles, including ones that have metadata about Barbie. So that's why it's getting pulled back. I know, I'm trying to think of other examples. I haven't demoed this in a while, so
Yeah, you can do like learn Spanish or yeah. Like if you just search gardening at Pima County, this is a great one.
yeah. So I'm searching for Chicago history. I get a related event pulled back.
So Anna asked, do any libraries have lists of keywords to share, especially for online resources?
So this is an example. So for online resources, an online resource doesn't have catalog metadata because it's just an online resource. So that's typically where we're recommending libraries think about targeting specific keywords. So you'd want to open up your GA4, Google Analytics 4, and look at your catalog search terms to consider what you might want to add. So in this case, the text learn Spanish has been added as a keyword to Mango Languages to ensure that this card takes the premier promotion spot when a user does that search. Currently, as far as I know, we don't have any examples from libraries of keywords that they've added to their online resources. I would probably just recommend looking at your GA4 so you can like be adding the keywords that your community is most is using. I know another thing I've seen libraries do is when they have online resources for specific things that they know patrons search for, tagging those keywords as well. So a user does a search for consumer reports. Oh, Chicago doesn't have that one, but you could see that happening. I think maybe King County had it. That was why I was thinking about it.
And John has a question regarding personalized promotions. Does each library have to ask for it, or is it rolling out to everyone eventually?
We right now are doing kind of a phased rollout just so that we're not activating it en masse. So we're adding like a few libraries a month so that we can just keep an eye on the infrastructure that we've built out. But we're looking for more libraries to come on board. So right now for October, we just have 2 libraries that have signed up. We're keen for more. So we would love for you to contact us, let us know you want it activated, and we can activate it. And then once it's activated, you can play around in GA4 explorations and look at the card clicks that are happening from your catalog search results pages, which is really exciting. One of the big reasons that we developed personalized promotions is if you have users that are just in the catalog performing searches, placing holds, it can be hard to get them over to your website to find out about other services or like collection recommendations that your staff have put together in like lists and blogs. Yeah, so this is just getting contextually like relevant content in front of patrons while they search the catalog. And during our pilot, we saw like a really large percentage of users who were not clicking on cards in BiblioWeb, clicking on cards in the catalog. So you're increasing the reach and your audience for that content that you're creating on your website.
Exciting. Well, we don't have to take the whole hour. And I know that we do have our virtual meetups every month or every quarter, which actually started because of BiblioCon. So thanks to Remington at Kent District, who had suggested, because office hours were so valuable, we should do them, more regularly. So we've done that. And I just want to give huge kudos to Natasha and her team around all the preparation they do for those. We're also always happy for libraries to take over one of those if you'd like to, and say, hey, we'd like to take on this subject and we'd like to, host it, which we're totally fine for too. They're very informal. So our next virtual web meetup is November 1st. I put it into the comments up ahead. I do have a general email or invite that I send out, but you don't have to be part of that. You can just join in because I include the links right in the partner portal. If you want me to include you, I can. I'm looking for a better way to manage that though, because I don't have a great way for when new libraries come on. So I'm still trying to figure out how to manage that more effectively. But then coming up for 2024, we'll have a new round of quarterly meetups, and we try to schedule it for the year. And at this point, it seems like the first Wednesday of the month of the second month of the quarter is working pretty well in the afternoon. That was also in some ways to accommodate Christchurch's schedule, because they're not with us right now because it would be the middle of the night for them. But that way, that's one that they can also attend. So if you guys have questions about that, let us know, or we hope to see you there at the November virtual web meetup. Any other questions for Natasha?
This was so easy today. I think before we did the web meetups, it was rapid fire, but yeah, I think we were covering lots of stuff in them. So that's great. And if you do have other questions that come up, submit them to our support team. They chat with me on anything they can't answer, or bring your questions to our web meetup.
Fantastic. All right, well, we will be back. We'll see Natasha later this afternoon for Biblio email. And next up is Biblio events with Tim, starting at the top of the hour. So you have a little bit more of a break. And so we'll see, I hope many of you in about 30 minutes. Thanks so much. Thanks, Natasha.